Hey, what's up, guys? Got another podcast here for you. This is Tuned in Sports. My name is Bryson,
I'm Bennett.
And I'm Steve.
and today we've got another podcast for you in this series on Tuned in Sports, and we're going to be getting into essentially just the final trade deadline talks for our teams. This will be podcast number 4, and we're looking forward to bringing more podcasts to you and getting those videos out to you. So let's go ahead and kick it off. Really, there's not a whole lot to talk about in this video at all. Let's start with the Bengals, I guess. They made a trade a couple days ago, sending Carlos Dunlap to the Seahawks.
They didn't seem to lose a beat because they ended up winning against the Titans the week that they traded him. So, overall, I feel like that was a good trade and it's worked out so far. Can't complain. It's unfortunate that we weren't able to trade John Ross and get something for him, but sometimes things work out like that. And I'm hoping since they didn't trade him that maybe they'll use him a little bit more. To, at least not have him be worthless.
Yeah. I was kind of half expecting them to either make more trades of players on their team or maybe go out and sign some people. I don't know, offensive line or
yeah, they
something.
did do that. They traded in the Carlos Dunlap trade. They got 7th rounder and an O lineman, and then they signed Quentin Spain from the the former Bills and Titans O lineman. So, and he came in there this week and against the Titans and played great. So,
yeah, I guess
he might
they did
end up being a steal.
Yeah, they did address the position. I just was expecting them to do a little bit more with the deadline, but I don't think they really needed it. I think nothing that they're going to do right now is going to make a difference, really. I think you just wait till the off season and just roll with what you got right now.
Yep.
If anything, I would have been more aggressive with getting rid of people. But other than that, I think that's fine. So.
Yep. Yeah, overall, I don't have much of any complaints outside of, the John Ross deal where we didn't trade him. So, outside of that, though, I can't complain because so far it's worked out and led to a win. So.
Yeah. Dad, what do you think? Any thoughts?
No, on the Bengals? Nah, I don't really have any thoughts. I mean, their major motive, I think, was to shore up the offensive line, which they did. Get rid of
Dunlap.
a couple of, get rid of a headache that they had in the locker room, and they were able to accomplish both of those things. And pull out of the victory last weekend, which was huge for them. Expectations aren't that high this year for them. So, I didn't see them going out and going crazy trying to do something.
No.
So.
No, yeah, I agree. I was thinking maybe if they wanted to try and do something, maybe be a little bit aggressive, but I honestly was kind of expecting them to be a little more aggressive in getting rid of people. But other than that, I didn't think that there was much that they needed to do. I don't think they're expecting to make the playoffs or anything anyways. So I think anything they did now could have waited till the off season. And that's essentially what the strategy is, I think.
Yeah, but with some of the games they got coming up, 4 out of the 5 are pretty winnable. They got Steelers this coming week after the bye week, and then they got Texans, Dolphins, Cowboys. I don't remember who else it is, but all I know. Oh yeah, Redskins, and they got the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all pretty winnable games in my opinion, and they could feasibly get to a 500 record going into week whatever it's gonna be.
Week 9.
So who knows? I mean, good win against the Titans. I mean, and then if they could somehow pull it off against the Steelers, I mean, I don't see it happening, but that could easily change their season around. So we'll see, but
yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I just think they're kind of set on not really
winning,
not doing much this season. I think they're fine with that. I would be fine with that as a fan, and just. I mean, like I said, anything that they do now could wait till off season, really. But I did think it was good they got rid of Dunlap. So,
yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next team. You want to go or me?
Go ahead.
Well, you know, we heard all these talks from Howie Roseman about, we're going to be extremely aggressive and we're going to go out and make things happen. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Didn't do a single thing. I'm quite upset about it, really frustrated. You know, I get that we're not a very good team this year. I get that we have a lot of injuries, so it's not 100% that we don't have talent. But, you know, at the end of the day, there are a lot of things that need help on this team, and we didn't make a move to do anything. I thought we should have gone out and signed a receiver. We definitely could use some help at the linebacker position. I feel like we could have gone out and tried to get a running back maybe. I mean, I don't know. It would have been nice to do something. The only thing that we did today was release a tight end from the practice squad or something. And, you know, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal, except for one, we're a team that really needs some help if we're going to do something this season. Which maybe we're not going to do anything this season, but we're leading the division. So, what, I mean, are you just saying, we're just not going to win? I think the percentage right now is like 75% win probability that we're going to the playoffs and winning the division. So, we're going to be in the, I mean, if we do what we're supposed to do, we're going to be in the playoffs. So, I mean, I just don't understand, like, basically acting as if the season's dead. We're going to be in the playoffs. There's some areas that we could use some help. They said, Howie Roseman came out, which is our president, said that he was going to be extremely aggressive. You know, you're hearing all this stuff about Alshon Jeffrey and, you know, I was talking before about, you know, hearing things about maybe them being interested in A.J. Green or Marvin Jones or potentially Julio Jones. None of those happened. I'm just very disappointed, to be honest. I really thought that this was going to be an opportunity for us to make a big splash like we've done in years past and sign somebody that could really help. And I really thought we were going to do that, and I really thought that we could at least sign a receiver that was going to be a big help to the team. We didn't do anything. I'm just very frustrated, very not happy with the fact that we did nothing because we need help, and we did nothing. We got injuries and stuff. We didn't do anything about it. And we're going to be walking into the playoffs with the team we have right now, and we're probably just going to get stomped. And I'm not saying one trade would have made the difference, but depending on who it was for, maybe it would have. I don't know. But, you know, just being content with what we have now is just, I don't know, it's frustrating.
Well, I'm kind of surprised myself, considering, like you said, that they have a fairly decent chance of still going to the playoffs. As bad as this season has been for them, the fact that, they're talking about playoffs is pretty incredible.
Yeah, and the fact that it would be more of a surprise if they didn't make it than if they did.
Yeah, I mean, given the landscape of
The NFC least.
of what's going on in that division right now, there's nobody that's very good, and you'd figure that they would have been the one that says, okay, we want to put our best foot forward and see what we can make of this, because potentially, if everybody comes back and they get healthy, and then you add a player, a player or two to help it. It could have really changed the whole, like you said, changed the landscape of the season for them. So I was definitely in camp with you as far as being surprised that they kind of just stood pat with what they have. Kind of makes me wonder, what the brain trust is thinking there about, maybe Wentz or whoever. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing there. But that's definitely not an Eagle-like move. But with that being said, maybe there just wasn't anybody that really interested them enough, and maybe the asking price on some of these people was just too high.
Yeah.
To where they didn't feel like it was a good trade. And I don't fault anybody. To me, you don't need to sacrifice your future for some guy that's got a couple of years left in the game. Talking about like a Julio Jones or somebody like that. Some of these players that they were interested in are older. So maybe they just saw that the value wasn't worth what they were going to get out of it. But I was shocked as you are to see that they did nothing. But there's still some time. Just because they didn't do a trade doesn't mean they still can't sign free agents and stuff like that. So it's possible they can still add some pieces here or there before the end of the season. So, and I'm sure they will, because I'm sure there'll be some people out there, that'll be available.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. As far as I'm concerned, I think it was not an Eagle-like move to not make any moves and, before the trade deadline. So, I think they're just going to be, I guess, okay with the roster that they got now. And it's just one of those things. I feel like they should have gone after a wide receiver, like a Julio Jones or something. I think he could have been a really nice compliment to the team. But especially with the Eagles' history, it's like they're not one of those teams that generally just stays put with what they got. Like, they're always trying to get better. And just to see them not do that this offseason, and I don't think it's a case of that they didn't try to. It's just the asking prices and stuff were too much for players. So, overall, I guess it's probably going to be a playoff appearance anyways. So, I don't see how much it would really change anything outside of possibly just having a better chance to win, or possibly making it past the first round and then losing in the second. So,
yeah, I was gonna say, I'm kind of thinking about it, and if the asking price was too much and stuff, what are you gonna do? Pay a large amount for somebody that, when one player is not gonna make the difference on the team? Really.
No,
we could bring in freaking DeAndre Hopkins, and he's not going to, transfer us to a Super Bowl team. Mm-hmm. We could bring in the best player at multiple, go about just about any any position in football, bring in and trade for the best player at that position. And is he going to put us in the Super Bowl? Probably not. So, I mean, in that respect, I kind of understand. But, at the same time, I wouldn't have a problem with it, really, except for Howie Roseman coming out and saying we're going to be extremely aggressive. That was the words he used. We were going to be very aggressive in the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. And to see nothing happen is just kind of like, wow.
Well, I don't think there was necessarily nothing. I mean, obviously, they didn't sign anybody, but we don't know everything that went on behind closed doors there. And, I mean, they don't just come up with Julio Jones, Marvin Jones, and who was the other
A.J.
guy?
Green.
And A.J. Green without probably, having some type of communication with the teams. I still think it came down to the asking prices were too high, and they didn't feel like it was worth, giving up what the teams wanted to potentially, and like you said, who knows if that player really does much, really puts
this
them
year.
over. Yeah, puts them over the top. So
I would have liked to see them trade Alshon Jeffrey, though. I mean, he's become a bit of a headache, and it's just like move him. But they didn't do that. He hasn't played at all this season, so who knows what he's even going to look like. If he's even invested at all in the team, I don't know. He keeps saying he is, but, I don't think these reports just happen out of nothing.
I mean, just having him come back, though, could be a huge deal for them.
No, exactly. I agree.
If he comes back and he's healthy, that may change the landscape a little bit, you know. So we'll see how it plays out.
But, I mean, no Zach Ertz, no Deshaun Jackson now. I think he's either done for the season or he'll be like week 17 around then when he's able to come back. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think we have a lack of weapons. It's just we have a lack of healthy weapons. But at the same time, people that have needed to step up have. As a result of all these injuries, we found Travis Fulgham is a pretty damn good player. Mm-hmm. And same can be said for Greg Ward. I mean, that guy, he's played huge for us. Didn't necessarily do it last week, but, in games past, he's been pretty reliable. We got Dallas Goedert back, so we'll see what happens moving forward with the Eagles. I kind of wish they would have done something, but then again, are we going to bring in somebody that's going to make a huge difference right now and be the difference in us, in our current record and us winning? Probably not. And in some respects, I'm glad we didn't overpay for somebody. Wish we would have gotten rid of, Jeffrey if that was what we were looking to do. But it is what it is. Let's move on to the Lions, though. Don't want to spend too much time on the Eagles. The Lions, much like the Eagles, there was a lot of talks, not necessarily about them trading for people, but them trading away players. Specifically on offense, there was quite a bit of trade rumors revolving around particular players on the Lions offense. Marvin Jones, Galladay, at least. I even heard Adrian Peterson floating around, even though I didn't think that was going to happen. But still, I mean, I did hear some things about that. So they didn't end up doing any of that stuff.
But they were active. I mean, they got the guy from Dallas.
Yeah, they did get
he's gonna play,
Everson Griffin. So
he's going to play this week. Is going to be his first week playing. So
yep.
I think he's going to have an impact. The Lions are in a weird position right now because they're uncertain on who's even going to be where come next season. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, if they don't win enough games to get into a playoff situation, they're forecasting that the management is going to be gone. The coach is going to be gone, the GM is going to be gone. So, I mean, you're looking at a total rebuild at that point. Mm-hmm. Which is really sad because I think we have a lot of pieces already in place. I just think that, I heard on Dose of Dion that, he believes that it's mostly scheming and coaching on the offense. and I would agree with that completely. I think we have talent. I just think they're lost offensively. I mean, how can you only have your leading rusher has 11 yards of rushing last week? I mean, how does that happen?
And he's not even at the position.
Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, this lack of consistency on offense is just ridiculous as far as I'm concerned.
And it shows on the record.
I mean, they're just, one thing after another every week. It's the same press conference. We got to get better. We got to coach better. We got to do this. We got to do that. And I'm just very disappointed, in the results that we see year in and year out. And I'm tired of watching these carousels of coaching changes and new GMs and this and that and the other, and the results never change. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter who they bring in or what they know or what they think they know. It doesn't matter. And as a fan, it's super frustrating. I wasn't surprised that they didn't make more moves. It's just not the way that this organization operates. We're more likely to get rid of players and sell people off and, do things of that nature more so than, bringing in players that might help you win.
It's sad when you're more stressed about the trade deadline than you are excited. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
How true is that, though? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wow.
It's just, it's very upsetting. I love the Lions. Like, nobody. I mean, I'm a true fan from, as long as I've been watching football. I've been a Lions fan and root for them year after year, religiously, basically. I mean, I eat, sleep, drink, and whatever with the Lions, and it's just very frustrating. I was happy to see him bring in Everson Griffith because, usually we're not one of these teams that's active that way. So, to me, that was a nice move. Nice to see him getting a little bit of aggressive to try to help the team out. So, it's yet to be determined what's going to happen with that. We haven't seen him on the field yet. But my guess is he's going to add instant pass rush, and that's exactly what we need. We need to get to a point where we can put pass rush on without having to blitz. Mm-hmm. Until you do that, you're never going to be that good. Mm-hmm. You can't. You cannot be.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to get pass rush with your front four. And so, that was a move made, I'm sure, to hopefully help that. I'm not suggesting Griffith's the best player in the game at the moment or whatever, but he's definitely an upgrade from what we've seen.
Yeah.
And as far as the Lions' moves, Griffin was a nice pickup, and that's really all they did. So, but that's better than not doing anything at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as the Lions go for me, it's nice to see them making moves. I can kind of relate them to kind of how the Bengals have been for so long. Lucky to see them make a move at the trade deadline. Or really make moves within their own, outside their own organization. Sorry. But, it's Everson Griffin, good pickup. I think he'll help their pass rush, and then hopefully, for them, that it will help get that pass rush going because that, like he was saying before, without, only way to get pass rush is blitzing, you're going to struggle. So, because, the corners aren't going to be able to guard him the whole time if the QB has all day.
Mm-hmm.
So, overall, good moves for the Lions in this trade deadline, and at least the one move they did have was good. That's pretty much all I got to say about it.
Yeah, I think it's promising moving forward. I I think with getting Griffin, I think he's definitely a plus, not a minus. Anytime, like I said in another video, at the very least, I think he's depth at the position. Just another player you can plug in and have not really lose a step when he steps into the game. So I think that's a positive. I was kind of surprised that they weren't a little bit more aggressive. Now, like Dad said, this is an organization that most years they're more commonly trading people away than they are bringing people in, or they'll trade people away and then trade for lesser talent to fill the position. Like last year, I think they traded away Slay, and then they traded for another corner to replace him or something. But that guy didn't end up being that great. So
no, they got Trufant.
Yeah,
and
Trufant.
He hasn't played.
Yeah, exactly. So
he's always injured.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like, well, you already had the position, so why do we need to make a move to get the same guy? Just pay the man. But anyway, I mean, it's just like that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you look at it from an ownership standpoint, and you say, hey, if we don't win now, we're out.
Yep.
So freaking make some moves. I mean, I just, unfortunately.
I mean, if I was in Bob Quinn's situation, I'm throwing caution to the wind because my job's on the line.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll deal with not having cap space for a couple of years to ensure that I still have a job.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, at the very least, especially in his scenario, it's like, well, as far as it seems, they're a package deal. But, from my standpoint, I kind of look at it like, well, if the ownership group, sees you go out and make 3 or 4 trades and really try and improve and stuff, you might be able to make a case for keeping your job and then just firing the head coach. You know what I mean? I'm not saying they should or shouldn't do that, but I'm just saying if you make a serious push and are like, hey, I'm trying to do what I can, you might be able to convince the owner or the management that, hey, you deserve to stay here at least another year. And Patricia's the issue, and then move on from him, but keep Quinn. Like I said, I don't know if that's the right move or not. In some respects, I think they should just move on from both of them. But, I'm just saying from his perspective, if you're trying to keep your job and maybe have a chance at keeping your job even if you don't make the playoffs, I don't think one trade for Everson Griffin is going to be enough to say, wow, you guys really, went out of your way to try and win this year. Mm-hmm. Because whether it's coaching or what, I mean, Dad especially, and just Don, me, Bennett, we've said numerous times on this channel that I don't think it's a talent issue, at least on offense, but whether it's a talent issue or something else, they're not winning right now. Mm-hmm. So the only way that you can really do something about it is by saying, hey, let's go out and sign some people. And by not doing that, they're not winning really right now. So you're just basically...
I mean, that's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting it to change.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, it may not be a talent issue, but... from his perspective, you got to hope that it is because your job's on the line. So you either do it and find out that it's not a talent issue by throwing the boat in and just saying we're trading and doing everything we can to get better on this team. And if we still come up short, then that is what it is. But, to just make one trade for a defensive lineman and then just kind of sit there and have all the talks be about you potentially getting rid of pieces, essentially, that's not the way that that's not the way I'd be running things if my job was on the line.
Nope.
You wouldn't hear about, unless it's like a headache or a problem or something. And really, I don't think like Galladay, for instance, I don't think it is a headache. Just pay him. And you got it taken care of. It's just the contract that he's unhappy about. Yep. He deserves to be paid, so pay him.
He's on the last year of his rookie contract.
Yeah.
And so he was figuring that he was going to be receiving a contract extension prior to the end of this season happening.
Yeah.
And truthfully, I think the team should have stepped up and said, yeah, let's get him under contract. I mean, to me, this is ridiculous. I mean, how many times we have to fucking piss somebody off? You know, I mean, we watched Barry Sanders get pissed and leave. We watched Calvin Johnson gets pissed and leave. I mean, why do that? I mean, why do that to players that you know have superior talent? Mm-hmm. You're not going to go out and sign another Kenny Golladay. He's as good as he gets right now. I mean, there's only a few receivers I put ahead of him. I mean, he makes the tough catches. He's long, lanky, fast, big. I mean, he's just, you know, to me, he's what you want. And he doesn't drop balls. So, I mean, I just feel like, in my opinion, I mean, there's no reason that you shouldn't be proactively signing this guy. I mean, you should be proactive about it. Don't wait and sit there and say, oh, we'll just find another one. No, don't. Yeah. Do not do that. Mm-hmm. Put your faith in something for once. You know? I mean, he's not the problem. He's a solution.
Yeah.
You know? And if you're not going to show him respect, then nobody else on the team's going to feel like they're going to get in it either.
Yep.
So therefore, you just keep losing players.
Yep. Yep.
And the reputation of this organization is shitty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not only that, but I mean, from the perspective of your quarterback too, it's like, what you don't want to, you know, ensure that I have this solid player. I mean, okay, why should I stay? All the talks were about, you know, them trading away receivers and stuff, trading away his weapons, not bringing anybody in.
Yep.
So it's like, what kind of a deal is this? I mean, Stafford is nearing the end of his contract. Is it this year, his last year?
No, he's still got a few more years left.
But still, I mean, it's like looking at this year, I'm thinking to myself.
Well, he's going to be gone anyways. If they make a regime change, I'm sure a new coach is going to have another direction they want to go.
Yeah, so, I mean, and far be it for him to want to stay there. I mean, I wouldn't blame him for saying, yeah, I've seen enough of this game. I mean, look at how many, like you said, look how many talented, heck, even, you know, top receiver with Calvin, and you had him retire early because he was pissed off with the team. Now, you know, kudos for him for not saying, oh, screw you guys, and then going over to the Vikings or something like that. But at the same time, I mean, that doesn't change the fact that he retired early because your organization couldn't get it figured out.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's one player after another that.
And from Stafford's perspective.
And everybody that leaves the organization leaves with a bad taste in their mouth. Darius Slay threw the organization under the bus. I mean, Snacks Harrison, same thing. I mean, absolutely, you know, nothing good coming out of people that leave Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always complaints, you know, coaching staff issues.
Well, yeah.
I mean, just, you know, whatever. I mean, and I'm not here to say Matt Patricia doesn't know what he's doing or has no clue. Or, yeah, I mean, he's been around Bill Belichick his whole life as far as coaching. You don't tell me that he hasn't learned something, you know. But my point is that when you get nothing but negative publicity on your organization every time somebody leaves it, you got a problem there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You got a problem because, you know, your brand sucks.
Yep. And I mean, and also when you think about the fact like Snacks Harrison and Calvin to the same point, but especially Snacks Harrison, I mean, that guy, he left the team and they just straight up cut him and he didn't sign with anybody until just recently. So he was literally just sitting in the free agent market doing nothing. He wasn't doing anything.
Yep. No, I agree. I mean,
So I mean, instead of cutting him, Why not let him finish out his contract at least? I mean, what? You can have him sitting and doing nothing in free agency just so he can get signed by the Seahawks or whatever it was. I mean, a year and a half later, what would he have hurt the team right now? Probably not.
No, he was a good player. But it's again, I mean, like I said, when you got stuff like this happening right now, there's nothing good coming out of it. I mean, nothing. I don't see a scenario where anything positive can be happening, because to me that just looks negative on the whole organization, and then that makes free agents and stuff say, why would I want to go there? Everybody's leaving that place, so all it does is hurt recruiting as well. You know, so if that's the case, then you're in big trouble. You know, so I mean, probably what needs to happen is a total clean house.
But again, like you said, I mean, it sucks because that's not what you should be doing when you got pieces.
No, when you got talent like they have, you should be looking at trying to find ways to win. You should be looking at how are we going to get to the next round of the playoffs, or how are we going to.
Yep.
Instead, we're looking at, you know.
How can we get back into the quarterback carousel and the coaching carousel and the GM? It's
very unfortunate. It's sad.
Piss poor.
And it's just a total debacle. You know, organizationally, they gotta be in the top 2 or 3. You know, most poorly run organizations. They have to be. And I'm not talking just football. I'm talking all sports. I mean, to have a team that has been around as long as they've been around, to never even ever went to a championship game since they've had it available, as far as the Super Bowl. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
You got teams that have been around for, you know, a little over a decade that have made Super Bowls.
I mean, that just tells you how poorly run it is. What a joke it is. But whatever. I mean, we're kind of getting off track here. This was supposed to be just a trade deadline video, so.
Well, yeah. It was still trade deadline because we're talking about the fact that they didn't make moves and that they were talking about making bad moves. So that's organization. But anyways, guys, we've had this video going for a while, so we're going to go ahead and cap it off here. This has been podcast number 4, the final trade deadline review for the Bengals, the Eagles, and the Lions. We hope you guys enjoyed the content. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Check out our other podcasts on the channel. We got 4 of them up. Like I said, we got one of them is a Week 7 review, and then the other one is college football talk. The other 2, actually, it's Alabama preview and review of their first game against Ole Miss. So second game. Make sure you guys check those videos out. With that being said, my name's Bryson.
I'm Bennett.
And I'm Steve.
And we'll see you guys in the next video.